My name is Katie, and I'm on the product marketing team. I work closely with our customers to get feedback on Houzz Pro and understand how you're using the platform. I'm sure I've spoken with some of you before. And then I also work closely with our internal product and engineering teams to make sure that we're building the right products for our customers. So any feedback you have, feel free to share it. We really take that seriously, and that's how we influence our product roadmap and what features that we end up building. Orion, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Orion. I'm a client success manager here at Houzz. I've been with Houzz for about 3 years. Some of you may have dedicated client success managers, so that is my current role. And I will be here guiding you through all of the demos for day one.
Perfect. So before we get into the agenda, just a few housekeeping tips. As you have questions as we go through, you'll see there's a Q&A tab. So feel free to add questions into there, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go through, either live or just through the chat. And we will be sharing a recording of this afterwards, as well as the recordings for the next few days. So don't feel like you need to take notes on everything as we go through. So there are a few main areas we'll be covering today. The first is sourcing products using the Clipper, creating mood boards and visual proposals that your clients can review, sign, and pay online. So we'll cover that whole process flow there. We'll also spend time on our invoicing tools, so you'll learn how to use them, how to create payment schedules or set up online payments, and then sending automatic reminders so you can get paid on time. We'll also cover our QuickBooks Online integration, so you can learn about that, how to set it up, and see how it can help you keep your bookkeeping records in order, reduce any additional work there. We'll also cover tracking time and expenses for your team and see how you can turn those hours directly into invoices really simply. And then we'll wrap up at the end with a quick view on how to access our resources and any additional help content. We do, as I mentioned, have 2 more days of this academy, so I'm sure you'll have questions on topics that may not be covered today, but try and join us the next few days and we'll be covering everything there. Before we get started, we did have a quick poll. We would love to hear, what are your goals in attending today's academy? That will help us tailor the content. And then one other quick poll, which is which of the following Houzz Pro features you would like more training on, whether that's proposals, 3D floor planner, mood boards, etc. We are creating a lot more webinars, and we have been ramping those up over the last few months. Hopefully some of you have joined those. So if there are specific features you still feel like you need more training on, feel free to let us know, and then we can create additional content to help you there. So with that, Orion, I will hand it over to you.
Perfect. Let me just go ahead and share my screen.
Sure.
All right. And then let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, amazing. Well, again, welcome everyone. I know that you were sent out our Getting Started webinar on Wednesday, or it's actually hosted on Wednesdays. So if you haven't had a chance to join that, just want to call that out. We do host that every Wednesday. That will walk through the initial setup of your account. That being said, we'll jump right in to the Houzz Pro Clipper tool. The Clipper tool is a Google Chrome extension that you will need to download. If you have not yet downloaded it already, you can find the extension download under your settings gear and then click on Clipper tool. This will walk you through how to download the Clipper. There is also a quick tutorial video that you can review. And then this will then be connected to your Google Chrome browser, and you can start clipping items from different vendors into your Houzz product and service library. You can clip items from both Houzz as well as other vendors, as I mentioned. So for the demo today, we'll clip an item from Houzz, and then we will also clip an item from another vendor just so we can see how the Clipper functions. On Houzz, I'll just shop products. And then for the sake of this demo, we'll be doing a living room today. So I'll go into living room features, and I'll go ahead and clip a sectional. Let's see. To use the Clipper, you will see your Clipper extension pop up here. You should also have it on your Chrome extension up in this upper right-hand corner. Once I click on this, my Houzz Pro Clipper will appear on this right-hand side. If you've not logged into the Clipper, it will ask you to input your Houzz Pro login just so that it's clipping the items to the correct account. If you are logged in, this is what it will look like for you. Since we are on the Houzz website, there is, of course, smart sourcing available. Smart sourcing will autofill the different sections of the product. Other websites will do it. Some websites do block it, so it just depends on the vendor. But if I go ahead and click yes, you'll notice that this will pull in the information automatically, and I don't have to do much else here. If I do want to pull in additional images, as you see these images on the left-hand side, I can click into this box here. I can clip a product image or I can upload my own. So I can go ahead, click clip, and it will show me the available item or images, I'm sorry, on this page that I can clip. I'm able to add up to 5 images. Once I make those selections, I can go ahead, click clip, and it will pull in all of those images for me. There is this markup tool here. So let's say that you consistently work with a vendor, you know that you have a set markup for that vendor. You want to make sure that when you're adding this item to a proposal, an invoice, a selection board for your client, that that markup is not being forgotten. You can input your markup during the clipping process. Now, anytime that I add this item, that markup will be associated with this item. Scrolling down here, sorry, my mouse scrolled a little too far. Here's where I can then categorize my item that I'm clipping. So I can add this to a category. This will help to organize my product and service library. I do have a sofas category, so I can go ahead and add that here. I can then assign a vendor. So I'll go ahead and click Houzz. And then from here, I can also assign this directly to a project. If I'm clipping the item and not assigning it to the project, it's just going to be in my product and service library. If I'm assigning it to a project, it will be in both my project as well as my product and service library. So just a quick call out there. From here, I can also assign it to a room. This will help me when I'm creating a mood board, a selection board. I already have this item categorized into that specific room. On this project, I don't yet have a room created, so I'll go ahead and type living room, and then I'm going to click create living room, and then it will add that room for me. You'll notice that you can directly add this to your selection board when clipping. If I click this, now when I save this item to Houzz Pro, it will also create that selection board for me. Selections boards will be covered on one of the later days of this session, but I do just want to make that call out as it does save you time. Once I click Save to Houzz Pro, I now have this item saved to my product and service library as well as to that project that I clipped this to. Are there any initial questions with the clipper?
Nope, no questions so far.
Perfect. So then I'll just go ahead and let's look at maybe a different vendor site that we might be clipping from so we can see the differences if we don't have that smart sourcing available. So for instance, I will go to our house. Our smart sourcing, as you can see on the right-hand side, is not pulling in details for any items, but I will go and look at living room furniture, look at sectionals, and then just select an item. And as you can see, when I click on it, this right-hand side is not going to fill in with the information automatically. So from here, what I will first do is clip in the product images. When you click to clip the product images, it will show you all of the images from this page that can be clipped. So I'll select at most up to 5 images that I would like to be clipped into my product library. Typically, they do have one without a background. This is great for mood boards. If you need it on your selection board, you can also remove the background with that mood board feature. When you're ready, go ahead and click clip, and then your images will be pulled in. Now to pull in the rest of this information, we will select this hand here. This is our selection hand. As I hover over different sections on this site, I can click and then assign that highlighted section to a particular category. You will have to include the product title, and then from there I can add in the cost. If I have a markup, I can go ahead and add in that markup. Is the item taxable? And now if I want to add in that client description, I can look at the details, select this for the description. I can really essentially pull in any information from this web page. As I scroll down in order to organize my product library, I'll go ahead and add this to a category. I already have sofas created, so I'll just go ahead and assign that. This keeps my product library organized. I'll now select a vendor. I already have our house created. However, if you do not yet have the vendor created, go ahead and create a new vendor. Again, since I already have this, I'll just go ahead and assign this to our house. And then I can assign this to a project and then assign this to my room. And if I want to, I can add it directly to that selection board. Again, when you've created this and added in the project name and the room, it will default to remember this, but you can always come in and change it if needed. Save to Houzz Pro, and now it'll tell me this was a great choice. My items are now in my product library as well as on that project. So your product and service library is going to be under this company section, products and services. Here I can toggle between products. This will be items that I've clipped, items that I've maybe even added as a product, and then services, so any services that I've added to my library. In products here, this will default by date added, but I can organize this by vendor, category. I can really kind of customize this view. You also do have these drop downs here. So maybe I only want to see items that I've clipped from Houzz. I can then organize by that vendor. Same thing with category, or whether it's an active and or archived item. For the categories themselves, you will see them here. If I click into this item, I can then click edit, and this is where I can update the category that it's assigned to. Maybe I need to update the cost, or I didn't add my markup. I can make the edits that I need once I'm done. So I'll go ahead and just add a markup here. Once I'm done, go ahead and click save, and now this update will be saved. This will not retroactively change this item on previous proposals or invoices that have been created. This will only affect it moving forward. So when I add it to a new document that I'm creating. Manage categories here. So this is where we can go. Maybe we accidentally have a duplicate category, or we need to find a category. One call out, this actually came up on one of my calls not too long ago. We couldn't find a category. Come to find out it had been archived. So you can click on this type drop down. You can always view your archived categories if needed. If it was accidentally archived, I can always unarchive it with this unarchive button. And then just to go back to my active categories, if you do want to archive a category, when you hover over, you'll see this archive button here. I can also click on it, and then I have this archive option. That way I can archive multiple at a time. Saves me time if I need to kind of make some adjustments. If I want to make edits to this category name, just click on this category. Now I can go ahead and edit this name, go ahead, click save, and now those edits will be made. Another call out here, you're going to have your categories, and there are also system categories in this section here. So the system categories are just set in the product and service library. Unfortunately, we cannot archive those at this point in time, but just want to call that out so that you're not confused looking at the different category sections. Any questions on the product and service library, updating categories, or anything else before we move on?
Yes, one question. If you adjust the markup on a product, will it update on selection boards or documents that it's already on?
It will not retroactively update to documents that it's already on. It will be updated moving forward.
Okay, great. A few people are having issues with sound or freezing. On my end, it's fine. Let us know if you're hearing any issues. If so, maybe just try exiting and then re-entering. Okay. Great.
So now we're going to jump into a project so we can create a mood board with the items that we've clipped, as well as bring in additional items. A few ways that I can access mood boards. Under this search magnifying glass, I can access all mood boards. This will be every mood board across every single project. I can directly create my mood board from here. I can also go into a project directly and then start my mood board. So I'll have my mood boards in my planning section here. I'll go ahead and click on mood boards. I don't have any on this project yet, so we can go ahead and create a mood board. I do want to call out that we do have mood board templates. So as you can see, I have my logo added. I can start from a template, or I can start this mood board directly from scratch. Once I click to start the mood board, this will show me a list of rooms that I have created in this project. If maybe this wasn't a living room, it was the kitchen, I can always add a new room. You'll see that option here. Since this is our living room, I'll select living room and create my mood board.
Orion, do you mind just giving the elevator pitch on what a mood board is and when you use it for those who aren't familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of designers use mood boards really as that kind of idea and design piece that they're showing to their clients. So they're going to put together the furniture, the items, maybe the color scheme, and really create that visual representation for their client. A lot of designers will also do multi-page mood boards, or they'll do presentations, such as, like Google Slides, things like that. We do now have that capability. So basically from start to finish, I'm kind of showing my client the look and feel of the room that I'm designing for them. And then I can pull in the specific items that I'm pitching to them. This is not a financial document, so it's not going to show any pricing or item details. This is essentially just to visualize the room design.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Perfect. So then adding items to our mood board, you do have this right-hand rail here. Project items, this is going to be the items that I have clipped into the project itself. So I can go ahead and click on my 2 items and add them to my mood board. A call out here as well is we do a pretty good job of removing the background. You can see here, is a little background underneath the sofa. Maybe I want to go in and get a little bit more technical, really remove that. When I click on my more little ellipses here, I can click on edit background. This is set to automatic removal. We now have an AI powered removal that absolutely does an amazing job. And now it's removed that lower section for me. I can apply, and now I have this cleaner look of the sofa on my mood board. I can resize these images. And then if I do want to move multiple images together, if I hold down my shift key, I can move these together. So that's been a newer update that we made recently, just based off of feedback that we've received. Let's say that maybe I didn't source all the items for this specific project because I already have items in my product library from other projects that I'm going to repurpose for this project. Click on library, and this will show me all of the items that I have clipped to my library in the past. So maybe I want to give another option of a sofa. I can go ahead and add this in to my mood board. Again, here's a perfect example of trying to remove the background. It's a little bit choppy, so we'll go into remove background, do AI powered, and it will look much, much better. And then we can see that we have that sofa clipped into the mood board. If you have not added an item to your library, maybe you want to browse the Houzz Marketplace to add items to your mood board, you can click on this source feature. And then this will show you the different sections of furniture that you can source from. So maybe we want to, again, go to living room. We can scroll through and see maybe we want living room table. And now I can go ahead and add any of these items into my mood board. And then you'll also notice that it will add to your project item since we've now added it here. Idea books. Idea books are something that quite a few designers that I work with, they use. Their clients will create them, they collaborate on them, share them. Maybe I want to add some images from an idea book that I have created to my mood board. I can go ahead and add that in. And then again, just kind of to show the feature, if I need to delete this for whatever reason, this is a bathroom, not a living room, I'll just go ahead and delete that item. Images here. So if we want to just upload an image to the mood board, we can upload an image directly. You can upload from your computer or by an image URL. Insert that URL, and there's that image that I want to add into my mood board. Now we have this image here, and that's, again, just added by that URL, not clipped into my product library, but we can visualize that with our client. Paint colors. So here we can actually add a paint swatch to the mood board. We do have Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams options that you can choose from. And then I'll just select whatever color scheme I'm looking for. Once I click on my paint swatch, it will show up on my mood board. A call out here as well. Let me just close out my little right panel. I can hide these swatch details. So maybe I don't want the client to know the color or the vendor of that paint color. That's something that is part of my design. I can go ahead and hide that swatch detail. On this right-hand rail, the last section here is 3D floor plans. 3D floor plans will be covered later on in the Designer Academy, but if I have my 3D floor plan created, I can input my 2D view of my floor plan to my mood board so that my client can see this. A call out here, so this will pull in some of those grid lines, and this is true for any items. You do have a crop feature available. So we'll just click on our ellipses, click on crop. I can crop either in a circle or I can keep this square, and then just similar to how you would crop any item, just kind of drag in your sides. It will create this crop for you. Once I click done, now I have that item cropped. Just to go back to source real quickly, I'm going to add a rug to my mood board to show you how you can move items back and front. I know sometimes you will want to layer items on the mood board to really give that look and feel. So when we add, let's say I'm adding this rug, I want it to be behind these items. I can again click this little drop down here, and then I want to send this to back. Now it's going to be behind these items. I can also skew items. This way it looks a little bit more realistic. I have that viewpoint and I can skew that item. On top here, we have different features as well. So maybe I want to add a text box. Click into my mood board. Once I click done, it will create this text box for me. And then I can go ahead and adjust the font. We've recently added a lot more fonts. I know that that was also a big question about having a variety of fonts. So we have much more now. And then you can do custom colors. You can also select Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams paint colors if you want to create that consistency across the board. And then this will adjust your size. You also do have bold and italics that you can update the fonts to. This will help me pan so I can move around. This is more so if I'm zoomed in, so let's zoom in. Then I can kind of pan to different sections of the mood board. When I release my pan hand, let's see. Then I no longer have that pan. Zoom to center gets us right back to center if we're zoomed in. Again, zoom in, zoom out features. And then here we have our pencils, so we can go ahead and draw on this. If I wanted to maybe draw a line to my sofa, I can draw that here. Or you do have lines and arrows that you can do through this shape feature. So again, I want to draw maybe an arrow here. I have that arrow, and then I can assign a different color to it. Ruler, let's say that maybe I want to showcase the size of this table. I can go ahead and add in my ruler, feet and inches. So I'll say this is 3 feet, and now there's that measurement for my client to see the length of this. And then click on your select arrow, and we're back to making our selections. Background here, so we can customize the background color. Again, or we can assign a different color from Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, and it will create that background color for us. This size dropdown will show you the size of the mood board. You can adjust it just depending on your presentation style. Maybe you have a wider screen where you're going to be presenting to the client and you want to make that adjustment. Our gear here, this is just going to be our settings. So you may have noticed that as I'm moving items, you see these red lines. That's my grid. So it will snap to my grid. If I want to fully have free range of this mood board, I don't want those guides to be telling me where to go. I can always remove this. Again, maybe I don't want to automatically remove the background of items. I can always turn that off as well, just under this settings gear here. Now, the most exciting part about mood boards that we've recently added is I can now make a multi-page mood board. Again, I know a lot of designers that I work with will use Google Slides, Canva, to really create that presentation. Now you can fully do this in Houzz Pro. A few different ways I can add a page. I can either click Add New Page. Maybe I want to duplicate. If I hover over and click on these three dots, I can duplicate this page, or I can just click Add Page. I can title my pages. And then I can save that title. Now it's going to be titled and organized. When I'm clicking on it, you'll see this title in the upper section here. Maybe I want to reorder. I can always move this to the end. And then I can do the same thing here. Go ahead and create the second page of my mood board. Before I get into sharing the mood board, are there any questions with any of the features within the mood board?
There was a request if you could demonstrate how to create a template.
Yes. Yep. So that we're getting to right here. But yes, under this actions dropdown is where you can create your template. So save as template. You will want to name the template and then click create, and it will save into that template area. So when you go to create a mood board, you can create it from that template that you just saved.
Great.
On the topic of saving really quickly, just want to call out that it does auto save. So you'll see the last saved here. As I make any changes, this will save. If for whatever reason, maybe you have bad internet connectivity or there's just a lapse in connection, you will get a pop-up saying, hey, this hasn't saved. But that is actually a question I get from quite a few designers is, how do I save? No worries, your mood boards will auto save for you.
Great. And can you show how to add your logo there?
Yes. So your logo, when you click on library, and again, this will be in the Getting Started webinar, will show you how to upload your logo to your account. But when you click on library, the first item that's going to be here is going to be my logo. That way I don't have to scroll through my library. It's there front and center. And then I can put this logo on my mood board wherever I would like it.
Great. A few more questions here. If you would like to have live links to your products, is that something that is possible to do here?
So the live links to the products is not available on mood boards. That is a feature on selections boards. The mood board is more so just kind of showcasing your design idea. And again, selections boards will be covered later on in the academy. I'm not sure if it's on day 2 or 3, but we are covering that. You can have live links there. That's more of an interactive piece with you and your client where they can see the items. They'll have the links there. You can link your mood boards. Again, that will all be covered later on in the academy.
Great. Here's a good question from Courtney. I'm happy to take this. Why should I use this instead of Canva or PowerPoint? Good question, Courtney. So basically now, as we've been working over the last few months to improve the functionality of mood boards, we have, I would say, all, if not almost all of the same functionality of those tools. And then the benefit is that it's all in Houzz Pro. So like Orion showed, you can use the Clipper, you can easily add a product, add it to your mood board, have it all flow into your proposal, into your selection board. So it just takes out a lot of that, double entry using multiple software to accomplish the same purpose.
Are there any other questions before I just finish up with mood boards?
One question on idea books. So can you share those with clients?
Yes. So the idea books are created on your Houzz profile side. You can add clients as collaborators and vice versa. A client can create one and add you as a collaborator as well. We do have resources on the Houzz side about idea books, how to create those. But yes, you can definitely collaborate with your clients.
Okay, perfect. I think we're good for now then on mood board questions.
Cool. Just before we move on, just want to touch on the actions section. I can create a new mood board directly from here. Maybe I want to duplicate this mood board, create different options for the client while still kind of keeping the base of the mood board the same. I can duplicate this. I can delete this if needed. Open, it will let me open another mood board into this section here. We covered save as a template. And then if you need help, click help. This will take you directly to the help center so that you can get any information about mood boards and get your questions answered. Print and download. So you'll see I have a few options. I can either download it as a PDF, I can download this as a JPEG, or I can print directly from this dropdown. I also have a share feature. So I have this added to my project. I don't yet have a client added to my project, so my client email address is not coming in. I can manually add this in, but I can send this mood board directly to my client from this screen. Once I send this, it will share on the client dashboard. Maybe I don't want to email it to them quite yet, but I do want to make sure it's on their client dashboard. That's how I'm really managing the project with my client. If I click on my dropdown next to share, I can publish this to the dashboard without having emailed that to my client. Dashboard, I know will be covered later on in the Academy as well, but that is how we can share it to the dashboard. Any questions, final questions on mood boards before we move on?
Yes, let's see. One question here. If a product has multiple images, can you select the one that shows up on the mood board?
Yeah, so right here, for instance, this item has multiple images. I can click these arrows to click through and then select whichever image I want. It will pull in that image that I've now selected. So you just have to look for your little arrows right and left.
Okay, great. And then a question from Serena. Can a client still make edits after it's emailed or shared?
You can definitely still make edits after it's emailed and shared. You will have to then just share that again with the client. But yes, you can absolutely make edits.
Yes, and if you, there's a question here, if you can revoke it. So once you publish it into the dashboard, you can unpublish it if you no longer want them to see it.
Exactly. So the exact same way, just this drop down, now that it's published, I can unpublish that from the dashboard.
Okay, great. Let's keep going.
Perfect. So I'm going to go back to my project. Just to call out, if I'm in any sort of software feature within my project, up here, I will have my project name. So instead of having to click on my projects, go into that project, if I just click the project name, this will take me back to my project homepage. Now on my project homepage, I have proposals on my left-hand menu. So I'm going to go ahead and create a proposal for this project. There are a few different ways to create a proposal. So when I click on my new proposal dropdown, I can do it from scratch. I can upload a proposal that I have previously created. Just a point to make here, you can't make edits to that uploaded proposal. You can put in the dollar amount, but you won't be able to customize those line items from what's been uploaded. And then if I've saved a proposal as a template, I can go ahead and then create a new proposal from that template that I have saved. I will create my proposal from scratch. And then here I have my proposal for this project. You will notice first thing is going to be my business information. Again, that getting started webinar will show you how to get this all set up so that when you're creating your documents, you have all of your business information showing. Let's say that maybe I don't want my phone number to show or the team member name to show. I want to customize this view. Click on my little pencil here, and then I can go ahead and decide what I'm hiding on the proposal itself. So you can see I have my address line hidden. If I show this field now by clicking on this eyeball, Now when I click save, let's see. This is wanting me to add in a client. And then we'll just add in this client. So we have billing info. But now that I click save, this will add in here. Now you see my address line. And then now we have the client information here. Again, same thing if I need to edit just my pencil here, and I can update the billing info for this client. On the top here, under actions, just to quickly call out, once I've created this proposal, here's where I can save it as a template. We'll go back to that once we've created the proposal, but just want to show you that that is where you would go. So if I'm creating this proposal from a template, I've then gone into a previous proposal and saved that as a template under actions. Here we'll have the project name. This will be titled proposal. Maybe I want to make this a little bit more detailed. I'm going to say proposal for living room. And then this will auto-generate a proposal number. You can always go in and customize this proposal number, or you can leave it as the auto-generated number. This proposal number here does really help in differentiating what proposal you're looking at. So if ever you have questions and maybe you've reached out to your client success manager or our client support team, reference the proposal number. That way we know exactly what you're talking about and we can get in there, take a look, and then assist you further. Here you're going to have the date, so date that it's created. I can hide that, show my date sent. I also have a due date. So let's say I want this client to approve this by the 4th. I'm going to go ahead and assign a due date to my proposal. Now we get to the fun part of adding items to our proposal. I'm going to click from library here, and it's going to default to my project item. So any items that I've added to this project. You may notice that I only clipped this sideboard as well as this sofa, but it is going to add in any other items that I've added to the project, which are the items that I added onto the mood board. So really great. If I've added to the mood board, it's going to just pull in and I can quickly add it to my proposal if needed. I'll go ahead and add in a couple of these items to our proposal. And then let's say that maybe I need to add a product. I can always add a product here. I'd add in my product name. So maybe I need to add a custom chair. I can add in my category. Sorry, my keyboard is not cooperating. I can add in my unit cost, my markup. Same thing as we did with the clipper. We're just quickly adding an item. And then I'll go ahead, click save. Now that item is added to my project items as well as to my proposal. Same thing, I can toggle over to services. I don't have any services added to this project, so there's not going to be anything here yet. If I click on my lamps here, this is going to be my overall product and service library. So same thing as we did on the mood board, we can go in and add any other items that we've added to our library into this specific proposal. I have a service library already created. Maybe I want to add in my design fee. I can click that and add it to the proposal as well. Same thing here as adding a product. I can always add a new service. Any questions on adding items from the library before we move on?
Not specifically on that, but one question around if the client will see the markup on your proposal.
So the client will not see the markup on your proposal as long as you have it hidden from the client view. What you might notice on each of these columns, you'll see this I with the line through it. This is showing me that it's only visible to me. Of course, as I'm creating this proposal, I need to be able to see this so I can accurately create that price for the client. And then when we go to the proposal preview, once our proposal is created, I will show you how we can adjust that from that view as well. If I click on my ellipses here, that's where I can say, show to client, Obviously, this one is hidden from client, so it's not going to give me the option to hide it since I already have it hidden. On the note of columns as well, so as you can see, I have quite a few columns showing on my proposal. When I click Customize, this will show me all the columns that I'm able to see. So again, call out here. Client's not necessarily going to see these columns. This is essentially so that I can fully create this proposal with all of the information that myself and my design team needs. I can toggle off or on specific columns. I can even create a column. So as you saw, I have a notes column. Again, just add new column. Once you name that column, you can insert either a text field. So that would be just free text. You can do a checkbox, single select, date, duration, or hyperlink. So if I want to add in a hyperlink, I can create that column, and then there will be a clickable link for the client. Once I've turned off or on the columns that I want to see or not see, click Save. This will save your view. So when I go to create a new proposal on maybe a different project or this project, my column settings will be set. So I won't have to go and toggle on or off the columns that I want to see. One of our newer features is that you can now create a group. So maybe you're creating a custom chair for a client. You need the fabric, the pillow, the frame. They all have different pricing to kind of create that one item. So I will click Create Group. And then it will create my group right here. I'm going to click into the new group name. So I will click this and say Custom Chair. The price here will be fed by the items that are within this group. So I can add item. Let me create a new item. So I'll say fabric. I'm going to create that as a new item. And then I can add this to a category. Again, this will just help to customize my product and service library so that I'm more organized. I can add in a unit cost. And then I've added that item. I can now then go and add another item. So we'll hover over. I'm going to go ahead and add an item. Now you'll see I can add it above or below my previously inserted item. I'm going to say to add this below. And now we have this item here. So I'll go ahead and add maybe the frame. Same thing, I'll create this. And I can either add this as frame, or maybe I wanted a custom chair category where all of my custom chair items are. I can also create that as a category. Again, I can go ahead and click Create. And now you'll see here that the cost will be based on the items within the group. So maybe this is going to be, we're going to add a unit type. I'll say square feet. And then we need 10 square feet of fabric. This will then adjust the price of my item within the group and also adjust the price of the chair itself. I can upload an image, so I can just click here to add an image. I can upload from my computer. I can use my logo if I want, but you can add images to the items here as well. And then same thing previously, you'll notice the eye with the line through it. This is only visible to me when creating the group. The client will just see the custom chair that's been added. Do we have any questions on the groups and creating groups?
Not specifically on groups, but we do have a few other questions on proposals.
Yeah.
Can you change the title of each product before you send it to your client?
Absolutely. So you can click into any of these products, and then I can say living room rug. Maybe I want to make it super, super generic. Just I don't want them sourcing this item. That's my proprietary information. I'm creating this design for them. So yes, you can click into any of the items and rename them. Let's say maybe this price, I've noticed it's gone up. It's now $4,000. I can click in and then adjust the price as well. So even though I've clipped these items, I can fully customize everything that's on this proposal. For the description, I can click in. This will give me a pop-up of the description, and then I can even type in my own description. Whatever I want that description to be, I can customize the text, click save, and then it will save that description that I just created.
Perfect. A great question from Liz. Can you save that group to your library?
Yes. So if you want to save the group to your library, click on the ellipses here. And you want to do this on the main group item. So I'm doing this on custom chair. Now I'm going to go ahead and click save to library. And then this custom chair group is now saved to my library.
Awesome. And yeah, groups is a really exciting feature. I know we've been getting a lot of requests for it, especially for those of you who are familiar with Ivy.
Yes.
So it's a great addition.
And then also another call out with groups as well. Maybe I want to create my own group in this proposal with items I already have on the proposal. I can select multiple items and then create a group with these items now. And it will create that group for me. And I can just say maybe living room chairs I want to rename this group to. And then now I have the two separate items within this same group. And then same thing, I can save that to my library if needed.
Awesome. Okay, great. We do have a few other questions. These are great. So thanks everyone for sending them in. Let's see. Question from Sasha. Do you recommend sending separate invoices for services and product?
That's completely up to your business model and how you kind of want to do it. I work with designers that either will do it totally separate or they will add their service fee onto the proposal. I know sometimes they want to add maybe that design fee on there. They have a set design fee that they start with. They want to show it on the proposal to give the client kind of an overall view of what the cost is going to look like associated with that project. Others will send them out separately. I would just say manage those expectations with your clients so that they know exactly what documents they're receiving and just what to expect with the project.
Great. Can you show as well how to ungroup?
Yes. So now if I am on this main living room chair item that I just created, I'm going to again click my ellipses and then I can ungroup these items. And now we're back to normal. I don't have those items grouped anymore.
Perfect. Okay, let's see what else here. Is there a way to add an expiration date for a price on a product, like if it's on promotion for a certain amount of time?
So there's not a way to add an expiration date with the preset columns, but as we discussed before, how we have our custom column. So I have this one called notes. I can go in to customize. Let me turn off my notes column, and then I'll add a new column. I'm going to call this expiration date. And then I can go ahead and add a date field. I'm going to create this column, make sure that it's turned on in my proposal view. So let's just scroll down. Perfect. It's turned on. So now I'll go ahead and save my column view. And then I can come in here and add in an expiration date.
Awesome. Okay, I think let's keep moving just because I know we have a lot to cover, and then we'll do our best to get to additional questions.
Yes. So one thing I want to call it as well, here's my taxable column. So I just want to make sure if these items are taxable that I do have items selected. If the shipping is taxable, you can select shipping as well. On this main column, again, my ellipses, they're great. They're everywhere in Houzz Pro. That's where I can get more information. I can go ahead and set a default value. So maybe I only want my item to always be taxable. I can set that default value. Mine's already set, so it's not going to let me save it. So I already have items set. So now every time I create a proposal, any item that I'm adding is going to be default taxable. And then shipping here too, so I can add in my shipping cost in these columns. And then if you have a shipping markup separate from your markup, you can add that in as well. Scrolling down here, we're going to see our total section. Don't be alarmed when you see markup. We're in our view right now. As we go to share this with the client, since our markup is hidden, this will be hidden from the client view. The markup will be included in their subtotal. But you will see subtotal, markup, and then here we have a discount field. So maybe I want to apply a specific discount to this proposal, to the whole proposal. I can either do a fixed amount or a percentage. And then I can go ahead and add in maybe a 10% discount. And now I have that discount created. It will apply to the total that we will see here reflected. Tax. So I already have a few tax rates created. You will want to make sure that you're selecting the correct tax rate for this document. You can always create a new tax rate from this screen if you don't yet have that tax rate created. Once I select the tax rate, it will go ahead and apply that rate for me and then reflect in the total. Scrolling down, we do have our payment section. So here I can customize my payment schedule. Maybe for my proposal, I just want the client to pay a deposit. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete this payment item. I'm going to click Request a Deposit. And then I can set a specific deposit amount, either a dollar amount, or maybe I just want them to pay 25%. And then I can assign that due date. I'll say that it's due by the 4th when I want them to approve the proposal, create, and now I have that payment schedule created. Your clients can pay directly through the proposal if you have your online payments set up. You can click Set Up Now on any document if you're not yet set up, and then you can connect your bank account so that your clients can pay either ACH or credit card. If they maybe paid you check or cash, you can still always log that within Houzz Pro, and then it will log on the document and it will basically accurately show your project financials. You have all of that kind of squared away. We'll get more into the payment schedule and payments when we do go to the invoices, but just to kind of showcase how that's created. And then I can save this as a default. So maybe on every proposal, I want to take that 25% deposit. I'm going to save this as my default. So now I don't have to remember to add it on future proposals. Files, maybe I want to upload a file to my client. I have a contract or maybe images or just anything that I want my client to see. I can attach files. If I have files uploaded to my project, they would show up in this section here. I can upload from my computer or I can upload from my Google Drive. We do have a Google Drive integration. Here, so perfect kind of example. I was on a demo not too long ago changing. They didn't want this to say memo. They wanted it to say scope of work. You can fully customize your sections. I can also drag and drop to rearrange. Maybe I want my terms and conditions to pull in first. With terms and conditions, I can start writing my terms and conditions. And now you'll notice we have a save as default option here. We also have a hide option. So really great for that memo or maybe that scope of work. I only want my internal design team to see that. I can go ahead and hide it from the client view, but it'll still be on that document for us to view. But again, save as default. Now any proposal that I make, it will have my terms and conditions. And then I can always access my terms and conditions templates through my templates here. And then you'll see the terms that I just added. I can even set my company defaults. So for terms and conditions, maybe on my invoices, I have different terms and conditions. I can set specific T's and C's, memo, email templates as well. This is for sending out the email, which we'll get to when we click on that send screen. And then second to last but not least is our signature field here. I want my client to sign to approve this proposal, so I'm going to keep this section on. If I don't want it, I can hide it, but you do have this signature field. This is only available on the proposal. A lot of times I get asked, what is the benefit of creating a proposal and then converting it into an invoice as opposed to just going to an invoice. One of the main benefits that a lot of my designers see is that they can get that signature for approval, and then they will convert that to an invoice, and the invoice is still going to be a working document, which we'll get to in a moment. My activity stream here. So I've only created this proposal thus far. So that's all we're going to see here. But I can go ahead and have a little bit more activity on this so we can kind of visualize that. Before I get into the automations, previewing, sharing, Katie, do we have any other questions?
Yes, let's see. Question from Sasha. Can you edit a proposal after you send it?
You can edit a proposal after you send it. If the client has either made an online payment, you've logged a payment, or you've converted it to an invoice, it will lock for editing, so you won't be able to edit it any further. When you do convert a proposal to an invoice, you are able to make edits on that invoice, even if payment is applied. And again, I'll review that in a moment once we convert this into an invoice.
Okay, perfect. And if you do create a grouped item, will the description show to your clients? Is that something you can customize?
Yes, you can customize the description. Let me just go back up to the group. Let's see where my group is. Sorry, my scroll bar on my mouse is just being crazy today. But yes, you can add the custom description. And then once I save this, the client will see my description unless I have my description hidden, which we'll look at in the preview view.
Okay, great. And is there a way if you want to have a different, say, product name for a client versus what you would send to a vendor?
So right now, when you create the PO from a document, it is going to pull in this name that I have added on the proposal. You can always make a customization like in the description field. That's feedback that I've gotten before. So we can definitely submit product feedback for that because it is great feedback.
Okay, great. And we've also gotten a few questions on contracts. So we don't today have a contract available as a document. It is in the works. But in the meantime, you can add a link or add it into your Google Drive as Orion shared.
Yes. Yep. You can add it to that file section. And then you can even make a call out in terms and conditions. I would recommend consulting legal counsel about terms and conditions because I do vary state to state. So just want to make sure that all of that is accurate.
Okay, great. Let's keep going.
Perfect. So under actions, as we showed before, that's where you save as a template. I can approve on behalf of my client. I can decline on behalf of my client. Here's where I can create an invoice, purchase order, duplicate and edit. So I can now actually duplicate this to another project. So this is a new feature that we added. It was a big ask. So yes, you can now duplicate to another project. I can save it as a template, download it, print it, download the tear sheet, or I can archive this directly through this actions dropdown. My little lightning bolt here with my stars, this is our automations. So I can set up automations for this proposal. When I click edit, you'll see the 3 sections. So next step triggers, maybe I want to share the invoice directly with clients once it's approved, or I want to keep it in draft. I can add that here. Proposals overdue, I can add a task. So now when this proposal is overdue, I will automatically have that task created to reach back out to this client. Maybe I don't want to reach back out and I just want a client reminder. So I actually have that here. So this is a reminder for them to review it. And this is going to be set after a specific amount of days of sending. But we also have the overdue feature. So maybe that proposal is overdue. I can again send that email to my client. And I can fully customize what this email says here. So maybe I want to make it a little bit more friendly or just add in a little information. I can always customize this. This will be for all of the automations. It's not going to customize by project specifically, but you do have the tokens here. So I can input the contact first name, the document name. So that would be customized by the project, maybe document type. I can pull in the document due date as well. And that again will be customized by the document because it is going to be that token that pulls from the document. Maybe a payment's overdue, same thing here. I can set up that automation. A thank you message. My client has now approved this. I want to send them a great thank you message. I can go ahead and set that. That will automatically send once the proposal has been approved. Save, and then this will save the automations, and then this will save across projects as well. My link here, this is going to copy my link to the client view of this proposal. Again, a create invoice button just for ease of use. Preview, I can preview the document that I'm sending to my client. Here we have our customized settings. So pricing, I can show just the totals, hide the breakdown, hide category pricing. Again, you fully can customize this for the client. You'll see all of the columns that I had with that eye through a line, with a line through it, they're all turned off. Client's not going to see that. Item details, maybe I don't want them to see the description. I can hide the description. If I want to hide the images, I can, but again, fully customize. And then your approvals, electronic approval, or if I want to approve by line item. If I'm on this preview screen and I realized, oh my gosh, I need to go back and edit, maybe this living room rug price went up, back to edit, it will take us right back to that edit view that we were just looking at. Download, link to copy that link. And then here we have the send. I can go ahead and send this directly to the client from this screen here. Once I send this to the client, it will automatically default to be added to the client dashboard. And then I now also have the option to send it as a text, either send both, or I can send text message up here. I know a lot of people are a lot more responsive via text message rather than email, so you do have that feature available. And then they will get a clickable link within the email. This is exactly what your client will see based on our preview settings. So they have this proposal here. And then as the client, I'm going to see this payment schedule. I can click to sign at the bottom. And then I'll just go ahead and click approve. And now as that client, I've approved this proposal. Are there any questions on sharing the proposal?
This is just a great question from Jamie, a little bit higher level. If you can just talk to the reason to have a proposal versus an invoice.
Yeah, so again, the proposal is kind of that beginning stage of the financial document process. It's more of the planning phase. I now have the client's approval. They're signing this. I have their signature for this balance. Once now I'm ready to start procurement, I'm going to then invoice the client the rest of that remaining balance. And again, the invoice is a working document, so we can always add to it. We can always kind of go back and create a new proposal as well for any additions that we're making in that project. But it really does give you that signature for approval.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Then I will go back to our proposal. So I'm just going to go back to the project and we'll go back to our proposal section. Now you're going to see the proposal information. Status is approved. Again, it's going to just show me that date created. So I can click back into this. I don't have my online payments set up in my demo account. Towards the end, I can go and show you exactly where to set those up. So my client is paying me via cash. I'm going to go ahead, click log payment, and then I can select cash. A call out here too, if let's say they're paying check, I can update this reference number to be that check number if I want to make sure that I have a paper trail of the specific check numbers. I can send the receipt to my client. Once I click done, you will notice that this has now been logged. And then just to showcase the activity stream, you'll now see I created this proposal. I sent this proposal. This proposal was now approved. If I updated my or refreshed my browser, it's going to show me that I've logged the payment manually. Perfect. So I'm going to create this as an invoice. Before I go over to invoices, are there any other proposal questions to answer at this time?
Let's see. I think you may touch on this in a moment, but can you change a price if a proposal has been approved?
So once the proposal has been approved, you can reopen it for editing and change the price on the proposal. If the client has already signed, though, it will erase that signature. You will have to resend it to them for approval if you want that signature. I've already applied a payment on this. Oh, I guess we've updated this recently. We're always making updates. So yes, I can reopen this for editing. Previously, if there was a payment logged, you couldn't reopen for editing. But yes, if I reopen for editing, it basically will show you that the e-signature is going to be removed. You will have to resend that to the client if you want their signature. If not, you can always manually approve the proposal under that actions dropdown. So now we'll see that this is still partially paid. The signature is going to be cleared. And then I can go in and update the price on any of these items. And then again, I can either go through that same flow, send it to my client so they can approve it, or under actions, I can just manually approve on behalf of my client. The alternative option to that is that when you go to create the invoice, you can adjust the pricing, information, details on each of the items. So I'll go ahead and click Create Invoice. This will pull over that payment that we logged as well. A really great call out and feature here is that if this is linked to another document, you will see this linked document icon, and I can always go back to that proposal if needed. I need to reference it for whatever reason. We can always do that. That's why it is really great to kind of have that proposal, and then you have your invoice, you have your purchase order. All of those documents will be linked in this section here. So you do have, again, that paper trail. Everything is just kind of organized for you. One question that I have gotten actually quite a bit recently, a couple of designers that I work with accidentally created an invoice and it wasn't yet ready to be created as an invoice. If I go back to my proposal, which I will show you now, it's going to show me that this has already been invoiced and that proposal is going to be fully locked out for me making any other edits or creating any further invoices. So I'll see that it's invoiced here. I can always go into the invoice that I've created as long as it's in draft, and I can always archive it. Because this one has a payment applied, that's why you don't see the archive. It's not in draft, but then you can reopen that proposal. So just, again, a question that I've gotten recently, that if you accidentally created that, it's still in draft. We can always go back and recreate that invoice from the original proposal.
Okay, great. I think we can keep going. I know we just have about 20 minutes left.
Yeah. So on the invoice, you're going to notice that it looks very, very similar to proposals. The way that I navigate this invoice is going to be the exact same as the proposal. This is just my invoiced document. So again, I want to go ahead and add maybe another item from my library to this invoice. So I can go ahead and just add an item. And then you will notice that it's going to adjust the price, but it is still on there. So again, if you are okay not having that on the proposal, you can add it directly, but just something to call out is that there is going to be no linked documents since we're only adding this to the invoice itself. With the invoice, you also have your automations here, so we can always set that. If you are connected to QuickBooks Online, the documents will auto sync. I know previously they would only sync if you issued the invoice. Since we have made that update, really the only reasons to issue an invoice now are if you're fully closing out, you don't want any more edits to be made, or if you're trying to generate a credit. And I believe retainers and credits will be discussed later on in the Academy as well. But when you issue an invoice, it will fully lock this invoice. And then if I want to reopen it, I will have to void it and create a new invoice from that voided invoice. Same thing here. We're going to see our breakdown of pricing and cost. And now we have our payment schedule here. As you can see, this adjusted since I added that item. I'll go ahead and just delete this item so that it's a little bit cleaner with the numbers. Click on my ellipses here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this from my document. This will default to have the remaining balance to be paid, but let's say maybe I want my client to pay in multiple payments. I'm going to go ahead and add another payment. It will split these automatically. Maybe this payment is going to be $3,000, and then they're going to pay the remainder on this third payment here. If you are logging payments, if you're having your client make online payments, make sure this dollar amount is the exact amount that they want to pay, or that you're logging the payment for. Because as you'll notice, when I go to log the payment, I cannot adjust this amount. So this will be adjusted in the payment schedule. Again, I can create different due dates for the different payments as well. I can even have no due date because maybe I want this to be upon completion of the project. I can always clear those due dates. Files, terms, conditions, memo, and then activity stream. You'll notice that there is no signature section here. And then same thing here. I can preview this document. And then I can send this directly to my client from this screen, copy those links, share that so that they can see this and make those remaining payments. Any questions on invoices before we move on?
Just one question, more of a workflow question from Lauren. She said she typically creates a purchase order from a proposal before invoicing. I know some of our designers do that as well. Maybe just talk to the different, feature flows you can take.
Yeah, and that's really going to depend on your business flow. There are some designers that want to send that invoice and get payment before ordering those items. So then they'll create the purchase order off of the invoice. Maybe you already took a retainer on the project, so you're just creating that from the proposal since you already have that the dollar amount to procure the items. So again, it really just depends on your specific workflow, but that's why it's super important to create the purchase order and or the invoice from that proposal so that all of the documents are linked and you can always go back and access them.
Okay, great. I think we can keep going.
Perfect. So now just to transition, I know we've talked a lot about payments, logging payments, online payments. Under settings, you have this online payment section here. We do partner with Stripe. This is a brief video on setting up your online payments, just information on them, and then you can click Get Started. Once you link your online payments, as you can see, the typical turnaround time is less than a day, but there are different transaction times based on credit card and ACH. Typically, credit card is about 2 to 3 business days. ACH is about 2 business days payout. After that first payout. The first payout can take a little bit longer. Stripe's verifying your bank account, making sure that everything is good to go so that there are no issues. But we do have pretty quick payout times. We also do have an instant payout feature that you can always learn more about in the Help Center, which I'll show towards the end of the webinar. And then off of online payments as well. So we're in settings. Again, if we hover over settings, we have QuickBooks here. You can integrate your QuickBooks account with Houzz Pro. As I mentioned, it will auto sync documents. This is a step-by-step walking through how to set up your QuickBooks account. There's also a brief video here as well. Once you have your QuickBooks set up, if I come back to settings and QuickBooks, this will be my integration sync dashboard. So it will show me if documents have sunk. If they haven't sunk for whatever reason, it will give me that description as to why it's not syncing. And then I can go and make the adjustments in my account. This is a one-way transfer of information. Houzz Pro speaks to QuickBooks. QuickBooks will not speak back to Houzz Pro, but it will export all that information into your QBO account. It does have to be the cloud-based version of QuickBooks, so it must be QuickBooks Online. And then last but not least, we do have time and expenses. Logging time and expenses can always be very important to your project, whether you're billing for your time or you just want to see how much time you're actually dedicating to a project and you want to make sure that you are being profitable in what you're charging. A few different ways that we can log time and expenses. Under companies, or I'm sorry, under search, we've moved things around quite a bit. Under search, you have your time and expense overview page. What's really great here is that I can now have an overview of all of the time, all of the expenses across projects. Let's say maybe I have different team members. I have a design team of 3, and I manage 3 designers that work under me. I can actually customize their time services, and I can make these specific to my team members. This is where those team member logins will come into play and come into handy. Maybe not every designer is getting paid the same rate, or maybe they have different services that they're offering and that they're billing their time for. I can then go in and customize this cost by my team member, and I can make sure that one team member is not seeing the other team member's rates. So there is that discrepancy there. With logging time, I can create a new entry. So I can assign this to my project. I can say this is reported by my overall account. And then depending on who this is reported by, then I'll see different service drop downs. So again, maybe this is my designer rate. And then I can say that this was 10 hours. I can go ahead and save this. And now I have that time entry created. You can do this for mileage. I know a lot of designers will do it for mileage. You can have multiple services, maybe sourcing, your design fee, design time, designing the 3D floor plan. That's one that I get a lot where they create a service for it. Expenses is going to be the same thing. I can create a new entry. So again, maybe I'm taxing for my mileage, or I had to go and purchase an item for the project that wasn't really on a proposal, but it is an expense to that project. Maybe it's not billable to the client, but I really want that to see that in my financial overview. Again, I can assign it to my project, say who it's reported by. I can add in my service. Maybe it was parking. I was going to procure some items. I had to pay that parking fee. And then I'll put my quantity in here and then save that. And now this is on the project itself. On the app and in your Houzz Pro account, you do have this time clock here. So I can clock in. It's going to default to that Designer Academy. Maybe I'm sourcing items. It'll have my hourly rate. Is this taxable? Is this billable to the client? Again, a lot of designers that I work with have a set design fee per project, but they are using this feature to see if that design fee is covering the time that it actually takes them to do everything on the project, sourcing, meeting with the client, all of that. So you have that billable field here. If it is billable, we can create an invoice for that time, which I'll show in a moment. Clock in. Now I have one clock running. Let's say that maybe I'm sourcing for 2 projects at a time. I want to run 2 clocks because I do need to bill both of those projects, or at least allot that time on both projects. I can click on my time clock again, add my time clock, but now I'm going to actually assign this to a different project. I have that all clicked in here, click clock in, and now I can see that I have 2 clocks running. Again, your team members and yourself can do this directly from the app. So maybe you're on site, you're at that client meeting, you want to see the time that you were there and meeting with the client so that you can bill them if needed. You can fully do this from the Houzz Pro app. When you're ready, you can clock out. Let's say maybe I'm just going to pause this. I need to take a little break. I can also pause and then restart. Once I'm ready, I can click clock out, and then you'll see I can adjust this time. So maybe it was actually 1 hour and 30 minutes. I can go ahead and adjust that, and then now it will adjust that for me. I can clock out here as well. This will clock onto that project. Any overall questions on time and expenses before I go into the project itself?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go back to that project that we were looking on our Fall Designer Academy. And I did log some time and expenses to this project. So I'll go ahead and click time and expenses. Now you can see my time here. I can click into the item to edit. So maybe I need to adjust. This was actually 1 hour. I can save this. And then these are showing billable. So now I'll be able, I can either add these to the same invoice or add them not to an invoice. But again, I can create an invoice from scratch, or just to the point that we talked about earlier, if you want to have all of your time, the items, everything on one document, I can add it to an existing invoice on this project. And now that I've invoiced that, you will see that these 2 new entries are added to this invoice for my client. Again, I can add that as to an invoice from scratch if I just wanted my time to be separate. And then I can do the same thing with my expenses as well. If I wanted to toggle over to my expenses, same thing here, just time, and then we can go over to expenses. And then I can always, again, add this to my existing invoice or add that to an invoice from scratch. Any questions on time and expenses?
Are you able to download reports of time tracking?
Yes. So, and this will be covered later on in the Academy as well, but we do have financial reports that you have access to. So you can do billing by team member, time billing by project. Another option as well, when you go to your overall time and expense page, I can customize this by project, by team member, and then I'm able to export my time entries based on whatever view I want. So yes, you absolutely can export time entries multiple ways.
Great. And if you added time, say to a specific project, can you edit that invoice to update the cost? Or what would you recommend there?
Yes. Yeah. So like basically if you had logged the time and maybe my rate's a little bit different.
Yeah. Or if maybe you spent a few additional hours on that project.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go back into my invoice. So I've already invoiced my time. Let me go back into the invoice where we added it. And yes, same thing here. You can adjust the cost. You can adjust the quantity. So let's see. Let's see where my items are. Perfect. So here, yeah, so maybe this was actually 12 hours and my design fee is not $20. It's $50 an hour. I can fully go and adjust this on the invoice. I'm also able to adjust this before we had invoiced it. In the time and expense field, we could also adjust it there. But yes, you can absolutely make those changes as long as that invoice is not issued. You can absolutely make updates.
Okay. Great. This ties into Jen's question, which is there a way to delete an old rate?
Yes, there is. So again, under this search, time and expenses, and then we're going to click on manage time services. So with deleting old rates, I guess no, you cannot delete an old rate if it's already been assigned to a project. But what you can do is when you edit it, what I've had some of my accounts do is they'll put void in front of it or after it. That way they know not to use it. But if it's already been assigned to a rate that's been assigned to a project, you won't be able to fully delete it.
Okay, great.
And then just to call out that I do want to make, we have made updates to our help center here. So if ever you have any questions, this little question mark in your Houzz Pro account is going to be a great resource. So the Knowledge Center, this getting started, it's basically going to show me different articles on setting up my account. Maybe I have questions on financial documents, project management, the 3D floor planner, finances and reporting. All of this is going to be segmented out. So if I click on one, you'll see all of our Help Center articles, kind of FAQs on these on these features. Also, we do have our overarching help center. So maybe I have a question on time and expenses. I can start typing in and it will pull up any articles that are related to what I'm searching. And then you'll also have our learn section. So we have trainings, any previous webinars that we've hosted, any upcoming webinars, we will have listed on this page here. We also have our certification. So definitely complete the Houzz Pro certification. You get a badge on your profile. You get a call out that you're Houzz Pro certified. If you're using the software, chances are you're pretty much almost done with that certification. So this will take you to the certification page where you can complete that. We also have our blog events. And then here's how you can connect with support. We do have the support chat here. It is going to be during our business hours. So anything outside of business hours, submit a support ticket if you have any questions.
Great. Do you mind if I take 1 minute? I can share a demo account with online payments set up just so everyone can see what that looks like.
Yeah, of course. Let me.
Okay.
All right.
I see, Courtney, your question here about the fee, so I can cover that as well. Let's see. Okay. Can you see my screen there? Perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what the page will look like if you do have online payments set up. And as Orion said, we offer or we accept credit card or ACH, which is bank transfer. So for credit card, there's a 3.5% fee. For bank transfer, there's a 1% fee. There are a few different ways that you can handle that fee. We've seen a lot of our designers basically absorb it into their markup. Obviously, if I'm a homeowner paying a large amount, I may not want to also pay a 3% fee on top of that. So you can embed it into your markup and basically cover it so homeowners don't see that fee. That's typically what we recommend. So when you have your payment settings here, you can see the page. So you can customize the payment methods that you want to accept, whether it's ACH, whether it's credit card. We have a few additional offerings we're working on, like a buy now, pay later via Klarna. And then you can see too the fee settings, how you want to handle those. So whether you want to add it to your markup, whether you want the client to pay the fee, which we also do see happening sometimes, or if you just want to pay that fee, and deduct it from the total cost there. And then we have instant payouts as well. So if you would like to get your money faster, this is just typically within 30 minutes, even faster, we have that available for a 1% fee. And so we've seen, a lot of homeowners do want to pay online. That's what they're used to doing, especially if they have a credit card with good points. It can be a big selling point for them, even if there is a fee associated. And then this is a screen that they'll see if you send them an invoice, where they have the option to review it, select the payment method, either bank transfer or credit or debit card. They just enter it all in directly, confirm and pay, and then you get that notification automatically. So on your end, it's super easy because you don't need to track any checks or log any manual payments. It's all just, done automatically. You get a notification and then you can keep the project moving. So did just want to show that because I know we get a lot of interest both from designers as well as from their customers who do prefer to pay online for things.
Just something I would like to add to that, Katie, is a question that I get quite often is sometimes maybe a designer only wants this one client to pay ACH and not have the credit card option, but then they do offer credit card for other projects. You can adjust that on the project level itself.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Well, I know that we're at time. Thank you so much, everyone, for the questions. Thank you, Orion.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.